The appeal of the John Wick movies feels niche but has turned out to be consistently pretty broad. Have you been missing the slick, glossy, high-contrast, heavily choreographed, hardware-obsessed, nightclub-lit, techno-paced action films of the late 90s, but not how such films often didn't deliver on body counts, blood, and brutality? Do you like the parts of spy, mafia, and/or conspiracy thrillers where people bring tokens and symbols to places and meet contacts and everything has generic yet ominous-sounding names suggesting a sprawling shadow world beyond the frame? Do you like Keanu Reeves? Okay, that's a trick. Everyone likes Keanu Reeves, but do you like all those things together? Well, that was John Wick, in which Keanu Reeves was the eponymous world's greatest hitman shaken out of retirement when a gangster's no-good son killed his dog, and Wick retaliated by killing everyone. Then in John Wick Chapter 2, he killed everyone else. And now in Chapter 3, he continues to do that. There's really not that much else to it, and there doesn't need to be, but that's also somehow more than it sounds like. The basic operating model of this franchise is to take the generic action movie, go here, meet this person, show this thing, get this mission, kill this other person, formula, boil it down to the bare skeleton, and in lieu of adding new skin and muscle, just paint the bones to look really, really pretty. You're either on board for that, or you're not. Now, I am, of course, on board for that, especially the original, which was a near-perfect match of Reeves' low-key zen charisma with a pared-down storyline grounded in a hyper-real world that stops short of ironically riffing on the interchangeability of the action movie world-building tropes in order to present them as an amusing formal abstraction. John Wick is an assassin under the employ of a vaguely defined international criminal syndicate that's part Russian mob, part Illuminati, and part Les Vampires, and as he dives back in to exact his revenge, we watch as he goes through elaborate systems of token exchange and contract negotiation that sketch out the unfolding concept of the world having its own unique rules and laws, but don't really seem all that convenient for running a crime empire, but are really good for facilitating amazing action sequences. Chapter 2 attempted to double down and expand on the abstract world-building aspect to diminishing but still admirably crafted effect, and now Chapter 3 Parabellum aims for the best of both worlds to more or less successful effect, continuing to expand the scope and presence, if not really understanding, of the John Wick universe, while also building its structure around what will probably be the hardest to top action scenes of the year. Seriously, the individual fight scenes in this are utterly mind-blowing. Now granted, that's mostly because they've dropped all pretense that John Wick going any place isn't going to result in some kind of action scene, or that the audience isn't taking in every fetishistic establishing shot of each new location's geography and accoutrement as a mental catalog of, ooh, I can't wait to see how John Wick's gonna kill like 50 people with that stuff. Not every action film's third installment could get away with making part of its opening holy shitballs, one damn thing after another bloodbath. What if the bad guys chase John Wick into the all guns and knives store, and there's like 3 solid minutes of dudes who know how to use throwing knives just throwing different kinds of knives into each other? As if to say, yeah, and then we plan on topping this. On the action front, at least, they do. The story, such as it is, picks up once again right after the last one left off, having broken the rules of we're still not supposed to know and it's still not supposed to really matter. By killing on safe ground, John Wick is now on the run and excommunicated from whatever. Basically, every other hitman in the world can now collect a price on his head, and he's not allowed to use any of these safe houses, doctors, weaponsmiths, and other special services previously available to him, which sounds like maybe the sequel was going to try to force itself to do something completely different, but ends up mostly meaning he has to fight more guys than before, who are more dangerous than before, to collect different, more important tokens of passage, to meet more important surprise guest stars than before, as he ostensibly moves up the hierarchy of the high table to get his bounty rescinded. The big thematic swing with this is that we're circling back to the broad idea of the whole series as a hyper-violent metaphor for grief and depression. The ultimate idea being that Wick is fighting to stay alive so he can continue grieving as a kind of human memorial to his lost loved ones. Now that's a pretty profound theme for this kind of movie, and it fits, so it's unfortunate that it isn't really backed up in full by what's on screen, so they eventually just have to have Keanu Reeves say it out loud explicitly for the backseats. It'd be one thing if it felt like we were heading toward a definitive finish this time, or at least the what's it all been about summation of the John Wick cycle that for a little while it kind of teases that it wants to be, before it's clear that much like the world building, the series is content to be better with the suggestion of big ideas than the actual presence. But the artful gloss of those suggestions applied liberally to the true focus on characters and astonishingly good action is what you pay for at John Wick movies, and by that measure, it's possible that even if nothing will ever top the where did this thing come from surprise of the original, Chapter 3 might be overall the best of the lot. Scenes like a katana fight on high-speed motorcycles, Wick quick building a gun from spare parts, and an extended shootout co-starring a pair of trained attack dogs backing up their master, and the obligatory we just really want to fight okay martial arts showdown between Wick and Sesef Arif Rahman and Yayan Ruhian from the Raid movies are the kind of things other films might use as climaxes, but here they're just so many snack portions en route to the big finish. fish. And of course it helps that the succession of new characters are much more amusing here than those who started to blur together in Chapter 2. Halle Berry has the most attention as a fellow semi-retired hitwoman Wick seeks out for a mission in Casablanca, and who more than reaffirms both her action heroine and B-movie badass credentials. Seriously, the number of years Halle Berry spent chasing dreary mainstream awards bait rather than embracing her obviously substantial skill as an over-the-top genre queen are a real loss. And Anjelica Huston shows up to have fun doing the wait, they really got who to be in this? Legitimate legend turn, and the always delightful, eternally underappreciated Mark Dacascos gets some winking self-parody in as an assassin and master sushi chef whose combat specialty is a surprise and a great reveal, largely because once you realize what it is, you start asking, wait, this might be the best version of that ever? But the standout may be the enigmatic Asia Kate Dillon as the Adjudicator, a representative of the upper-level bad guys who shows up in a B-plot to manage the fallout from everyone who decided to bend the rules in John Wick's favor in Chapter 2. On the one hand, this what happens when the world starts to entropy storyline is the most intriguing narrative check that the film writes without ultimately deciding to cash, but while it's playing out, Dillon manages to be such a captivating on-screen presence that they very nearly manage to steal a John Wick movie without firing a single shot. So yes, I did find myself thinking this is awesome, but I feel like it had potential to be a lot more, but only because what's already there is so much. 7 out of 10, a must-watch for hardcore action lovers, and a damn good time for everyone else. Check it out.